Hello. On behalf of Adoption Education through adoptionclasses.com, I welcome you to this training. Today we will be discussing post-placement supervision, a necessary step in your Ethiopian adoption. Hello, my name is Roberta1 and I will be with you. You ask, what is post-placement supervision? Yes, post-placement supervision for an Ethiopian adoption is a series of meetings and evaluations, one of which may be conducted in your home with you and your entire family and your social worker. Other in-person meetings may take place in the offices of your adoption agency or the office of your social worker. Reports based on your interviews are then filed with your adoption placement agency and the Ethiopian Children, Youth, and Family Services Department. These reports by your social worker usually will include 3 to 6 photographs that you have submitted of your child, some of which will be your child alone and others with you and your family. Please also include a current medical report. Why is agreeing to post-placement supervision important before you adopt from Ethiopia? This is such a good question. Firstly, Ethiopia requires this commitment, and all agencies dealing with Ethiopia must comply with this requirement. Also, the Department of Homeland Security, as we know it, Citizen and Immigration Services, CIS, will only grant approval for an agency adoption if you and your family agree to participate in this process. This commitment is noted by your social worker in your adoption home study. To repeat, Citizenship and Immigration Services will only grant approval to families who agree to participate in post-placement supervision. Therefore, if you wish to adopt from Ethiopia, it is mandatory that you have the post-placement supervisory visits. This is what the supervisory visits will include. And your home study will include a section in your home study described in this manner. It will state right in your home study, summary of the counseling given and plans for post-placement counseling and supervision. It will have your name and then state, you agree to comply with all requirements for post-placement counseling and supervision. Then, of course, you ask, what are the fees for this service? Your agency will outline the fee structure. This is always a given and how they will do things. Due to the importance of maintaining close contact with you, the adoptive family, some agencies may require this fee to be paid before the placement of your Ethiopian child to ensure the visits will take place and are conducted the way that America and the Ethiopian governments require them. The fees will be based on number of visits and location of the in-person meetings. Now that I have custody of my child from Ethiopia, why is supervision necessary? Many adoptive parents think this question, but they don't ask it, basically because they are used to so many of the regulations that they must follow. But it is a very good question. And it is based on the fact that in the past, there were rumors of either baby selling, and there was sentiments that were not always positive towards adoption. Thus, America and the Ethiopian government wanted to ensure that a child placed in an American home would meet international standards. Because of this, the post-placement regulations were set up and instituted. So, it's absolutely important and necessary that these reports be filed on time and that all your appointments with your social worker be kept in a timely fashion. Under these circumstances, you will be given responsibility for keeping these appointments. So just note them in your appointment book and schedule them with your social worker approximately a month in advance. For families adopting from Ethiopia, and I've worked with families who are in this position, post-placement supervision is essential and extremely important. You ask why. The families that I work with understand that it provides the documentation for the courts, for the state courts, that recommends you as an adoptive parent of your child. So if you're wanting to adopt in America, which you have to when you've conducted an Ethiopian adoption, by giving your child American citizenship, this will guarantee your child is an heir to all the rights and privileges that we as Americans have. At the same time, your child will then be given an American birth certificate, and passport can be issued at a timely fashion if this is what you're interested in. You ask, how many reports are needed for an Ethiopian adoption? The number of post-placement reports varies according to your state, but generally, Ethiopia requires 3. And your social worker will provide you with a timetable for these appointments. The supervisory visit with your supervisor or the social worker will take from 1 to 3 hours, depending on the focus and issues that you discuss and you and your social worker bring up for discussion. And also, of course, how chatty you are and your social worker is. The next question and issue is how to prepare for the post-placement interview. The challenge facing first-time parents are overwhelming. And it is because of all the questions that come up that deal with your child rearing techniques, how your child is doing developmentally, how your family is doing, and all of the different aspects that come about adopting a child from a different culture and background. That post-supervisory placement and supervision comes at this most opportune of times. For it comes at the time when you are beginning a family and it is the transition to your new parenthood. The agencies, the social workers, everyone involved in international adoption, particularly Ethiopian adoption, are mindful of the pressures that adoptive parents face. And also for them, we all realize that during the time of these visits gives adoptive parents the opportunity to reflect on how they're doing as parents, how the child is progressing, and how their own family is doing. So while adoption can be a joyous time, and I certainly, as an adoptive parent, can testify to that, it also brings with it the reality and awakening that child rearing under any circumstances is neither simple nor easy. Particularly for parents adopting from Ethiopia, there are issues of the child's age at adoption, genetic predispositions, the child's past experiences in the villages or what had happened with the child and the biological family, the child's medical history, how long the child was in an institution or orphanage, and for discussion, multicultural aspects of your child living in a white community. All of these contribute to making your child what she or he is at the time of adoption. With this in mind, we can view the post-placement supervisory experience as a time of learning, a time of support and enlightenment, and what transpires between you, a loving family, and a child and youngster who's living in an entirely changed environment. So read through this material and understand how these meetings with your social worker will be helpful to you. Have pictures available for your social worker, and then relax, take a deep breath. Now we'll turn our attention to the format of a post-placement supervisory visit. This will give you an idea of what one will be like. The visit basically is to see how your child is doing and the adjustment and growth of your Ethiopian child, so that the specific purpose is the visit with your child and your family to monitor the child's adjustment and development and to review how you, the adoptive family, are doing. If this is your first meeting with a social worker, have a current medical report available, as well as a copy of your child's current inoculation booklet. This will be very good to have for the visit. It's always good to impress the social worker with these materials also. If you are working with a pediatrician who specializes in international adoptions, you will want to have a current medical report available for comparison to the discharge medical your child received from the embassy while in Ethiopia. Likewise, always ask your doctor, just as a matter of curiosity, how your child rates in terms of height and weight from other children from Ethiopia. Is your child in the 50th percentile for weight? Is your child in the 30th percentile for height? Is your child taller or shorter than other children? Just for you to have a yardstick. Nothing for you to be anxious about. Just to know relatively. What is prime important is your child's healthful development and working with a physician who is mindful of medical problems specific to Ethiopia and their specific course of treatment. We as Americans are blessed to have some of the best pediatric care in the entire world, and we urge everyone to use prevention and intervention services for all our children. And while the physicians in Ethiopia are very well versed in medical care, we certainly like to have our children followed up here in America. One thing that will be of importance to your social worker will be a visual body check of your infant or toddler. Certain states require a body check. This is to ascertain that the skin is clear and well maintained. For instance, when I was visiting an orphanage, I witnessed a child who had fungus. In other cases, they had what's usual, a diaper rash. These are the kinds of things that the agency likes assurance that are now in the process of being cleared up. Likewise, all issues pertaining to your child will be discussed, including diet and transition to favorite American foods, the American diet, how your child's digestion and tummy are functioning, when your child naps, the sleeping patterns, and bathing, whether your child likes a shower, whether your child likes to be bathed in a bath with toys. Also, during the visit, please share your enthusiasm and exuberance over your child's emerging personality. For instance, yesterday I saw a child playing in the water, playing with a bucket, filling it up with water. The child was very happy during this first year of having the opportunity to play in the local playground with the sprinklers. Talk about whether your child has a great smile or your child's joy at listening to music. Also some of the music perhaps from Ethiopia, and the welcome that they give family members when they come through the door. All of this is very important in describing your child's specific personality. For the supervisory visit, some families like to share their child's baby book or life book with a social worker because it so graphically offers your child's progress since placement. Here, there are pictures of your child at home, at play, or with relatives at family occasions. And these pictures will perfectly document a day in the life of your child. For those of us who have cameras, it's a great way to show your social worker how your child has evolved. In addition, keeping the life book will maintain these memories forever and will record your child's earliest experiences with you following departure from Ethiopia. Also, your social worker is interested in your child's developmental skills. So, for young children, you will be able to describe how your child is attracted to light, how your child looks up, moves away from light if it's too bright, how your child turns to the direction of sound. This is good assurance that your child's hearing is good. How your child responds to being cuddled and held, and how your child also grasps at objects. For slightly older children, there is the excitement of the first steps and hearing their first words, mama, dada. Generally, I have to say, the D sounds come first, so it may be dada. All of this brings with it the observing nature of you, the parent, who are attuned to your child's interests, what makes your child happy, your child's ability to focus, and your child's motivation. It is these observations which you share with your social worker, which indicate your child's growth and maturation. Be open to discuss your child's bonding and attachment and how your child has responded to the new environment in America. Please discuss also things which you don't understand, such as why does your child cry even though the child is fed and dry? Why your child may hoard or hide food? Why your child is fearful of certain things and recurring bad dreams. You may find it helpful to maintain a diary listing the date of some of these disturbing occurrences, a description of what occurred, and what you did to remedy the situation to bring comfort and happiness to your child. Then, when the social worker visits, you can confer and conference on how to deal with this predicament. Use this likewise as a model with your pediatrician during your regular visits. You may want to use the behavior journal to clearly define your concerns. This is an example. You would indicate your child's name and biographical information. So date of birth, the country of birth, Ethiopia, when your child came to be with you, your pediatrician's name, then list the areas and behaviors of really specific concern. For instance, is there a fear of strangers or a fear of the dark, for example? Note the date when the behavior first appeared. Where did it occur? In the house, in a car, in a shopping mall? What were the circumstances? Was your child sleepy? Was your child hungry? What brought about this behavior? And what did you do? How did you try to comfort your child? How long did the situation take to resolve itself? And how did it make you feel? Particularly, all new parents will undergo stress or anxiety or feel overwhelmed if they can't bring comfort to their child. So think about how you felt. Note all the dates and the situation and if it has occurred. Again, write down the circumstances, list your interventions while they were cuddling the child, trying to distract your child, and record if the behaviors have escalated. You may use this format, but feel free to design your own. What is important, again, is to carefully document the behaviors separately for discussion with your social worker, your pediatrician, and if applicable, your child's teacher. Adjustment and growth of your child from Ethiopia. The reassuring news is the American government realizes children, including those adopted from Ethiopia and abroad, may have developmental delays, which are on a continuum. Now bear in mind, some children may not have any type of delays. I'm just mentioning this for your education. If there are some delays or parental concerns, free early childhood intervention programs which are available in your community, and they provide interventions and help right in your home. It is a fabulous program. They include fine motor coordination, helping your child lift things, manipulate things, speech therapy, and bonding strategies to help the relationship and promote good communication between parents and child. All of the services are geared towards supporting family and introducing family to ways to foster their child's developmental milestones and thinking and learning abilities. For a listing of early intervention services, contact either your local education department or neighborhood school. A few words of advice to you. Always interview with the agencies before selecting a program. And remember, although intervention is provided till age 3, an informed parent, such as you, can have these programs extended with proper documentation. In concluding this discussion on your new child's adjustment, also include his or her reaction to other children in the household, as well as their feelings towards the newest addition. We will now turn our attention to your responses to parenthood. This will be part 2 of your meeting with your social worker. It will be the post-placement supervisory meeting, part 2. There will be a discussion on parenthood and how you feel about it. This section, therefore, will introduce you to some of the points you will cover with your social worker. There will be issues such as your feelings towards being a parent, how you are parenting, whether you're cuddly, whether you're a little nervous, whether you like to sing to your child, and the effects parenting has on you There will also be a discussion about you and multicultural adoption, how your child is fitting into the wider community in which you reside. While post-placement is a time of euphoria, it also brings with it the recognition of the challenges and responsibilities awaiting new parents. Therefore, the new family begins making the transition to being a unit, which includes a child around whom, at least initially, everything revolves around that child. It also brings with it reality and a return to work, the paying of bills, and extended family commitments. Throughout all of this, your family maintains its devotion and commitment to the new child, and you watch over your child very diligently. Your agency likes to hear and learn how you're responding to the challenges of adoption, how you're incorporating the Ethiopian child into your home, into your community, and how you treat your child's discomforts, what brings a smile, and what has changed for you. The social worker looks to you, the parent, to describe in your own words what parenthood means to you. So I suggest sometimes before the visit that you and your spouse or parent, the other parent, write down things that have changed, memories of how you have changed since you were childless, and what parenthood means to you spiritually and how it has changed you forever. I recall an adoptive parent saying of her Ethiopian child, "This is the child I have always waited for." And when I saw mother and child yesterday, she reiterated that feeling. The agency is also interested in how the parent and family cope with a new child, and how responsibilities are delegated or shared, and how the child has affected your relationship and quality time together. As well as we all know, the introduction of a child affects everything greatly. How do you then apportion your time so that you will have time for each other and time to discuss what's on your mind? To your agency and social worker, want to know how your family and you have bonded and attached to your new child, and how the child has grown to be part of your family and family life. There will be considerable interest in the extended family's reaction to your child, how grandparents, the aunts, uncles, nieces, nephews welcomed the latest addition into the family circle. Were they at home waiting for you after the long, exhausting trip from across the world? From Ethiopia? Did they have a baby shower? Who called every day to see how you and your child were doing? And who could you count on every day? Please also mention your other support networks, your church, friends at work, and parents of other Ethiopian children you have encountered on your path to parenthood. An alert. Transitions and change are part of our life. It happens on occasion that we become absolutely overwhelmed and frightened when moving into new territory. For some, the stress of the adoption process triggers a period of post-adoption syndrome, similar to postpartum depression when you give birth to your child. This is nothing to feel ashamed or guilty of. Rather, it requires prompt attention by a clinician trained in the field of depression. It should also be discussed with your social worker, who will recommend supportive strategies and services to you and your family. Adoption and American citizenship for your child from Ethiopia. Your agency and the authorities in Ethiopia look forward to learning of the adoption of your child. Remember to notify your social worker when the adoption is finalized. In conclusion, on behalf of the adoption community of the United States and adoptive parents worldwide, you are wished patience, fortitude, great happiness, good health, and a bountiful heart. A little about your trainer for the day. Roberta Kalmar is an adoption home study specialist with more than 25 years experience. She has served as an adoption consultant to an adoption program in Ethiopia and volunteered in an orphanage in Addis Ababa. Her clients include couples, singles, step-parents, and adoptive parents over 40. Formerly an administrator with a major New York State adoption agency, her publications frequently appear on the web. There are some articles dealing with Ethiopian adoption. Feel free to visit her website, abcadoptionsonline.com. She can also be contacted at 718-499-8993. Thank you.